Before all this, it would be better to state that there isn't just one great film of all time. It is an insensible concept if you are considering more than one person. One particular person might have at minimum one favorite film, but the entire world population doesn't. Then comes the system of majority. If you take the advice of the whole world population and more seriously of the film experts, they won't refer to one great film, but several great films. Before introducing my idea of how to make a great film, let's jump into what is a great film. Why do you think audience recall Godfather, a 6 million US dollar budget film, more than a 237 US dollar budget film Avatar? Even if Avatar made into the cinemas 40 years after Godfather did. And also, Avatar is the highest grossing film of all time. By this statement, it's clearly evident that money can't buy a great film. Then what does? Several elements related to various aspects of filmmaking completes a perfect film. Just take for an example this $1 million scene from Fast and Furious 7. And compare it with this low budget scene from Shawshank Redemption. Which moment do you recall often? For me, it's always second. Every element worked correctly in this scene, which includes music, cinematography, screenplay, and many other things which makes it memorable. A memorable scene is not achieved by high CGI or expensive software. It is like a craft that requires creativity. And several memorable scenes like this complete a great film. That being so, a great film fits into our memories and influences us even outside the theaters. A great film provokes a thought, thereby propelling us into some serious thinking. A great film simply creates an impact and obsession. So let's begin our journey to know how to make a great film.
Vengeance upon thee. I made no campaign promises because until a few weeks ago.
First element, direction and the story. It's better to begin from a topic from which the idea of the movie itself establishes. That is a story or the plot. The principle of good story only applies to novels. A good story might hold us into a book, but a movie necessarily needs an artistic direction in order to immerse the audience into the movie, even if it has a captivating plot or script. Consider these two movies, one with a great story, that is Now You See Me, and one with a great direction, that is The Master. If we compare its effect on the public, the movie with great direction had a greater positive influence than the other one. A great direction blurs the effect of a story. Like a great novel needs a great story, similarly, a great movie needs a great direction. Consider this beginning scene from Saving Private Ryan. At this point, we know nothing about the story, the plot, and even the names of the characters. Yet, the scene is so well crafted that we never get bored no matter how many times we watch it. Let's look into this case. What if someone starts to watch a movie from somewhere in the middle of its timeline? Even if the movie has a perfect story, the person won't comprehend it because he missed the half part. While if it has a crafty direction, then the person will enjoy it at any scene as it has a compelling direction throughout the runtime. And it will create a mental impact that will make him watch the movie again just to see the missed part. Now, this was the argument about a movie with either a great direction or a great story. But if filmmakers manage to bring both in one, we get this.
Ritzy, do you renounce Satan?
I do renounce him.
Second, captivating cinematography. Structurally, it is believed that cinematography and direction work hand in hand. Yet, cinematography needs a distinct and special thought. Cinematography is nothing but giving life to a picture, making it a moving picture. Before the 1940s, the cinematography was utterly neglected. The camera shot was focused on a single character by shifting the camera from one character to another during the exchange of dialogues. Orson Welles redefined the use of camera in cinema. He used the camera angles peculiarly, seeking the audience to actively participate in the act along with the characters. He reinvented the style of filmmaking by creating Citizen Kane in 1941. Now that's what makes a film great, expressing one's thoughts and intuition without a single worry about the critics. That is why Citizen Kane is frequently regarded as one of the greatest films of all time. To understand the importance of cinematography, let's look at these two similar scenes.
We already are, and you guys would look like idiots even more than you already are. Well, no, not you, but him, right? Listen, you have what we in the business like to call nothing up your sleeve.
Why aren't you married, William?
Oh, Trace, what the hell?
I was close once. Just didn't happen.
It surprises me. It really does.
Both the scenes are simple conversations involving three people. But if you look closely, the one with the seven is visually more engaging. Firstly, it's due to the background sound. We are made acquainted with the place by using simple techniques of sound. You can hear the music playing and other rustling of objects. What it does is that it makes us feel that we are a part of it. Secondly, it's due to the camera shots. In Now You See Me, the camera shots are split into 3 screens for 3 characters. So, it becomes difficult for our mind to guess who's sitting where. While in 7, the shots are split into 2 screens, which makes us familiar with the positions of the characters and simply implies us who is on the focus. Also in Now You See Me, the transition from one shot to another is so noticeable and frequent that it reduces the intensity of the dialogues. While in 7, the camera isn't just switched after the end of one character's dialogue, but it's so subtly done at the right time that we don't even notice it happening. And thirdly, it is due to the effective use of dialogue. Dialogues in film should be concise yet elucidating. To simplify, let's take into consideration how we humans communicate. We rarely express ourselves completely. That is, we don't directly say what we mean, not too often, but only when things are at peak. This scene from Spotlight perfectly illustrates this point.
It's time, Robbie! It's time! They knew, and they let it happen! 2 kids! Okay? It could have been you, it could have been me, it could have been any of us!
And when the expression is done frequently in a movie, it's a sign of lazy filmmaking. Since the filmmakers couldn't find an artistic way to develop the character arc, so the only way left to describe the character is through the words. It is unrealistic. That is why many philosophical films don't work. Tarantino uses the effectiveness of dialogues to shape or describe the character. He uses the trick of creating an out-of-the-scope conversation between the characters with dialogues which has nothing to do with the ongoing scene. But it successfully does the job of sculpting the character in the audience's mind. Like the beginning of Pulp Fiction.
They make one show. That show's called a pilot. Then they show that one show to the people who pick shows. And on the strength of that one show, they
To bring a
decide if they
clear
want to make more
contrast,
shows.
take
Some
into
shows
account an
they
introduction
make
to a movie by voiceover narration. Would you favor this technique?
Colossal castle owned by a gentleman I had not yet met named Gatsby.
So, he was your neighbor.
Or this one?
As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster.
This one-sentence dialogue from Martin Scorsese's Goodfellas accomplished the task of a successful beginning in a movie. That is, hinting the audience what kind of movie it's going to be without any excessive use of words. A popular slogan about screenwriting goes, show, don't tell. Fourth, ideal storyline. An ideal storyline is a consequence of a perfect beginning, ending, and midway runtime. Opening and closing play an important role psychologically because these scenes are what the audience particularly remember after the movie. A good beginning generates curiosity and suspense, or simply a cliffhanger. Would you give your attention to the movie with a beginning like this?
Dear friend, I am writing to you because she said you listen and understand.
Or like this? The beginning of Perks of Being a Wallflower is so predictable and pale. An opening scene should be arresting, seeking our attention right from the first instance. But that's not enough. The public should be engaged in the drama till the ending so that they won't remain confused during the climax. And that requires an extraordinary arrangement of extraordinary scenes. Needless melodrama attenuates the power of a storyline. That is why many Bollywood movies and Indian TV shows with unnecessary drama and song creates a short-term effect, while great movies are remembered for an extent of great time, because it has a perfect timeline composed of necessary sequence and worthwhile dialogues. Have you seen any great movie with some scenes which has nothing to serve the story or the plot? Great scenes are beneficial to the movie will become invaluable without those scenes. An iconic scene does the job of defining the movie's theme as well as propagating the storyline. Fifth, proper casting. Great films consist of great acting, not great actors. A movie with good acting is more a job of casting and lies in the choice of a good actor. Casting directors should choose the actors who correctly fit the role, while at the same time, the good actors should choose the correct role. We won't talk about what is a great acting because it's not our domain today. Storytelling intensifies when importance is given to all the characters even if they are on the screen for seconds, and when unneeded characters are eradicated from the script. Like unnecessary music, scenes and dialogues, unnecessary characters also lower the effect of a movie. Last, correct use of music. When the dialogues and visuals fall short in conveying the perspective and emotion behind a scene, the idea of music comes in. Music is itself an entity for expressing human emotions and feelings. But when it comes to moving pictures, the music should be specific to the scene. Based on production, two types of music are used in the film. That is, a film score and a soundtrack. A film score is a music originally composed for the respective film, while the soundtrack is a music composed before the film. No matter if it is a film score or soundtrack, but if the music is used, it should sink into that particular scene. It should not feel like the music is forcibly added in that scene, but that the music is specifically made for that scene. The scene should be incomplete without that music.
It's infinitely complex.
For illustration, take this shower scene from Psycho. Could you imagine this scene without that score? The music is so correctly matching each camera shots and frequent close-ups that it looks like that the music is the part of that moment. What makes it so memorable? This could be summed in simple words. The scene should own the music. Ineffective use of music is when it is needlessly added to the scene like this. If it is done incorrectly, then the music used creates a larger impact than the movie itself. The audience will remember the music more than the film. While if it's used correctly, then the music and scene as one together create an impact. The public won't even feel its solo presence, because it deceives us that it's not added in the background, it's playing along with the scene. Try listening to this. What comes to your mind at first? I assume this. Effective use of music in a scene psychologically affects us, such that every time we hear specific music, we recall that particular scene. Another great example is the use of song The End in 1979's classic Apocalypse Now. The chaotic and brutal nature of the song is so perfectly matching with the movie's theme that every time you hear this, you recall this. From all this argument, one simple conclusion can be made. There are no specific rules to make a great movie. It only requires a vision with pure art and intuition.
I'm convinced.
A movie isn't made in order to entertain the audience, but to express oneself. If you want entertainment, then you can go to any regular movie, or more precisely, passable movies. That is a movie just good enough to be acceptable, not memorable. But if you genuinely want to be enlightened and fascinated, then go to a great film, which might not come into notice at first instance, but it will be always in the search list even after years. Watching a passable movie feels like we have already watched it. The plot, concept, storytelling, and even the characters seem to be the same as in any other passable movie, while watching a great film generates a new and fresh feeling. It creates an impact such that we can watch it once again.
Stop.